Hello, fellow scholars. Tonight, for my final speech in Com 20, I'll be going over the issues facing Social Security in this day and age. So, imagine paying into a savings account your entire life just to watch most of the money disappear when you're finally able to use it. This is the current state of Social Security and the problem that we are facing with it. The purpose of my speech is to inform the audience why Social Security is struggling and why it is an issue we need to act on. I'm qualified to speak on this topic and share my opinion because, first, I've done extensive research on this topic of Social Security, and I believe I have a great understanding of the topic. Second, we spoke about this a lot in my political science class, and it was a big part of the unit. And third, I'm an American citizen who pays my income tax into this program, which is a more valid reason than ever. So currently there isn't enough money going into Social Security, and we need to fix that so we can see our benefits. In my speech, I'll go over what Social Security is, the current problem facing it, and how we can fix it. So, what is Social Security? Social Security provides you with an income when you retire or cannot work anymore. I found this information on USA.gov, and here it is, the current Social Security beneficiaries, and this was in 2018. So 65% of the people receiving income from Social Security are retired workers, 15% are disabled workers, and then spouses, children, and widowers make up the other, 30%. And so that's like when their spouse or their parents die and they receive money that way. So how much Social Security income you receive depends on your earnings over your lifetime and your age. So you'll be able to tell if you're able to receive benefits on their website at socialsecurity.gov. So how Social Security came to be. In 1935, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act into law. I found this at Sage Journals, which is a scholarly peer-reviewed article. And life insurance was also added in 1939, disability benefits in 1956, and cost of living adjustments in 1972. Social Security was strengthened to enable hardworking citizens to protect and provide for their family. So when do you get to see the benefits? You can start receiving Social Security income when you turn 62. But reasoning suggests that you should wait until the amount caps out at age 70 when you'll start receiving the maximum amount. So these points make Social Security sound great, but really the problems with it will come to light later in the future. So what is the current problem facing Social Security? So Social Security funds are reportedly going to run out soon. According to the author Taylor Tepper from Forbes, bureaucrats published a report stating that Social Security trust funds will start to run out soon. As we can see this, in 1990 they started at below 100%, but steadily as more money was going into it, around 2010 it reached its peak at 400,000, so that's 400,000 extra dollars into the system that could be used to pay off beneficiaries in the future. But in the next, it starts declining. In 2022, it declines by almost 200%. And then as we can see in 2030, it's gonna be below 100 again. So we're not gonna, say even us, if we ever make it that past 2030, we won't even receive maximum benefits. But actually, Social Security will not run out of funds because there's always money being paid into it. But without reform, we won't get paid the money which we are owed.
What's up, guys?
So why is it like this? The money is running out for Social Security because the older generation, the baby boomers, which is a large generation, are all retiring, and the birth rate is also declining. In 1964, families averaged 3.2 children, and 10 years later, the number dropped to 1.8 children, and it's been steadily declining ever since then. And also, the ratio of workers paying into Social Security has gone down from 3 to 1 to 2 to 1, and it's lowering as well. So the effect on new beneficiaries is that if Congress doesn't do something to reform Social Security, then we will see benefits drop below 25% of what we are owed. Take, for example, a 65-year-old who, with a lifetime career earning of around $55,000, they would receive $21,000 in trust funds. But by 2035, it would drop around 25% to only $1,900. So now that we know that the system is broken, what can we do to fix it? First off, Congress can fix Social Security if they want to. It's just not that high of a priority for them. So according to Forbes Advisor, Congress is more focused on issues like infrastructure, social spending, and climate change than giving to the hardworking citizens that pay into their program. So Congress has two options currently to fix Social Security, and they're not very great. The first one is to increase taxes, which no one likes, and the second one is to decrease benefits for Social Security beneficiaries. Or we can take this matter into our own hands. Social Security is such a great system, and according to the article, Social Security and Mortality, Social Security is the single most important and effective income support program ever included in the United States. As we can see from this graph, so this was in 1930, this is a graph of elderly in poverty. So before Social Security, over 50% of the elderly were in poverty, and we've seen it because it's harder for them to work and get money. And in 2009, it's around 9.5%, which is a great decrease. And here's also another graph on how many workers are paying the Social Security. As I said, it was around 2 to 1, and it actually is, like, we're here right now, and we see that it's steadily declining pretty drastically. So what we need to do is we need to advocate for what we're owed, and we know that the future of Social Security is bleak, and if we don't do something about it or make it a more pressing matter, they're just going to raise our taxes. So what are some other remedies for the problem? One solution I saw going around was to cut the program altogether. This isn't a very good idea. It wouldn't end well and probably lead to more problems and/or lawsuits. Another solution would be to allow discretionary funds, or would be to allocate discretionary funds or discretionary spending to fix Social Security. The government could allocate these funds. Instead of paying for something else, they could pay into Social Security until the problem is fixed. And they wouldn't have to pay a lot, it would just be a little bit at a time. These are just some ideas that I and others have come up with, and hopefully they could be implemented soon. So there needs to be reform in the current Social Security system, and Social Security was made for others who cannot work or are too old, and there are some issues with it. I brought up ways to fix that in this speech. So the purpose of my speech was to convince you, the audience, that this needs to be a bigger problem that needs to be addressed, and that it's a way bigger problem than Congress thinks it is, and it needs to be higher on their agenda. So we pay into this through income tax, and it just isn't right that as early as 2035, we will not get as much as others did in the past. My question for you is, what can you do to help out the issue? You can send letters and advocate for the money that you're owed. The federal, and so once we get to that age, it will be too late. So act up. Thank you for listening to my speech, and have a good rest of your night. Yay. Yay.